Mansfield today on a Tuesday, that means it's time to look at things, I nearly said medical, but if I said medical, I would have had a very lovely looking GP next to me and not you.
You should have known me before this exchange, Jim.
Are you, Lance?
Yeah, good on you, brother. Nice to see you.
All right, advocate Lance Brogden. Aren't you cold? Yes, winter's hit. I'm in this immunotherapy for cancer. It makes me cold. When I'm not on it, it makes me cold. I'm cold all the time.
That's not what the chicks say.
Yeah, get on with it, you. You know what was so nice this morning was walking around our complex, not wearing a mask. It's such a sense of freedom.
Yeah.
I just got that sense because I think it is because cold, you smell more.
Yep.
And I just got the sense of absolute freedom that here we are, we don't have to wear masks. Things are returning to normal.
You think, Jim?
Why do you sound so skeptical?
Nah, right. So, from your lips to God's ears, I pray it was that case now. More people can go to functions. We can walk outside without a mask. We still have to use a mask inside, and we'll get to that because it absolutely makes no sense to me. But the Department of Health, my dear friends, and Jim particularly, listen to this, have put out a new lot of potential regulations as a long-term protocol to replace the current state of disaster. Now, with that comes some pretty heavy implications, you know? And so they want to put a whole lot of new protocols in place and here's the scary thing. So these protocols will be such that should they be passed, the minister will not have to go to Parliament because the belief is, that the minister has it's a subordinated legislation mandated to the minister, and when and I'm going to get to them just now, these regulations and rules are not cast in stone. You can do it without going back to Parliament.
What sort of regulations are being sought by the Department of Health?
Well, they've actually put a few out there. They would like to have protocols in place to control having your PVR tests and entrance and exit to the country. They would like to continue with the night vigils and the restrictions around the vigils, the funerals, the occasions in the evening, a lot of other limitations about movement, etc., etc. So this is quite scary, in my opinion. And sorry, please, this is not a political discussion, it's a practical discussion. Because you have legal, you have political, then you have the practical. The practical side is, at any time, this can come out again and say within that arena, the minister may make certain regulations or resolutions without going to Parliament, which will limit us. So what does this do? It'll open the door to a varying amount of new regulations, etc., and controls.
So in other words, the Ministry of Health is now taking over control.
If this goes through, yes, indeed. Absolutely. They are subordinate to the authority from the Parliament to do this without having to revert back. And they can change these rules and move them around because, here's the scary one, it goes further to other ministerial departments because this proposed regulation portfolio or protocol allows advice giving to other departments and advice giving between departments. So once again, that advice or proposal or suggestion from one ministry to another does not, if they both accept it, does not have to go back through Parliament. It just goes ahead.
So the Minister of Police can decide, go to the Minister of Health and say, I think this should be instituted. The two collude, they both agree, and there you go.
Perfect example. I didn't think of it like that, but no, there's a good example. And that can then have other types of controls. Let me give you a thought, an example. So during this process and the trauma of the last couple of years, then gyms could open to a certain extent, but houses of worship couldn't open to another extent. It gets quite conflicting to me. If you have the protocols in place. Here's another one. Here's a winner, Jim. So now you and I can walk outside this morning, go for a stroll, no mask. We're going to go have breakfast at one of our nice little spots. We're going to walk in there, put the mask on, then you have to take it off and sit down. And then we're talking, we're having fun, the mates join us. Wow, guys, I'm really confused. Where I sit, I think it was time just to say, right, it's been traumatic. We're at that point now. We've got to get so much up and running again. Sport. We need, looking around the world now, things are opening. I was watching some soccer from England last night. I was watching the Tottenham game. Man, full, packed, people having fun. And it's still cold there. They actually had snow a week ago. So you have all those implications. I think we have to be a little bit more open-minded. Remember, there's never, if and God forbid this happens, but if ever we get this trauma back again, the pandemic raises its head in a massive way. I'm sure in little ways it probably will in certain parts of the world. We can always revert back and protect it. But right now we have to get on with the economy.
That's all very well, but how do we have our say?
Guys, this is really important. So please go onto the various government websites and websites around the Department of Health new regulations. Every one of us has a right to put our comment in. Okay, and you're allowed to do it, and it's all above board. It's about being a country with a constitution, a Bill of Rights. But I think the cut-off date is the 14th of April. This is why this is an opportune, and I'm glad you wanted us to have this chat, Jim, because it's opportune now. Get involved, put your comments and your thoughts down. And if you're totally supportive of all of this, that's also fine. You're allowed to do that as well. You know, and I don't want to guide or lead you. I'm just going to share with you the implications of this movement of authority and power to the ministry away from Parliament. Okay, so, and we're all intelligent people, we understand what that means. But the bottom line is you can go on, you can vote. There are various questionnaires out there. There are comments that can be provided. Please do so. It's on the websites. Go and have a look around. It's very, very important that you have your say. You know, it's very easy from the sideline watching a rugby match or a cricket match and to give everybody a welly and give them horns from the side. But you have a chance to have a say here. Do it. It's like voting. Have a say.
Okay, so let's say the new regulations go through. Summarize what we will be subject to.
So what's currently on the table, social distancing will remain in place. You will still have to wear a mask indoors. Even if the state of disaster is overs, cadovers and gone, we still have, they are proposing these measures. There will still be limitations, 50% on an outdoor event, etc., etc. And that's very traumatic for our people in events and sport and so on. That has been taken a big knock. So pretty much the stuff in place now, they're implying they would still be in place. There would be these limitations, but with the right further to give advice between departments, and secondly, they can then have the authority to change them, push them up, drop them down, make regulations on travel without having to go back to Parliament. So that's why we have to have our say. And I'm not telling you what your say should be, but I wish I could. It's not our job here, but it is very concerning.
What's concerning to me is that somebody like Fugile and Balila can possibly be of influence to the COVID rules. That is it's a big fear for me because there are some of our ministers who don't quite get it and just fire from the hip and say what they want to because they think that's the right thing to say to the public.
Yep. Well, there we go, eh?
Lance, we're not going to get ourselves into political trouble, yeah? So best we leave it there because there are lots of things we can say.
No, Jim, thanks. Hey, and good luck with the treatment, man.
Yeah.
Hey, good to see you back up and running, brother.
Yeah. I'm going to be up and running every now and again. There are times where I won't be able to make it onto the show. But these guys are pros. They know how to handle it. They know how to handle it.
I'm not a prostitute. I'm not those pros.
You see what I mean?
Thanks, Jim. Thanks.
Until tomorrow, when we do have Medically Speaking, goodbye.